All right, let's jump into a deep dive on prepping for a forestry machinery technician interview. Thinking about a career working with those huge machines out in the forests, but also need to be tech savvy. All the software and data systems they use now, it's pretty cool, right?
It is. It's a fascinating field.
We've got a detailed career guide, A&D, a full interview guide from RoleCatcher. So we're going to use those to hopefully get you feeling confident to tackle those interview questions.
That's the goal. RoleCatcher's great for that, getting those insights and presenting yourself well.
Yeah, for sure. So first, big picture of this career. The RoleCatcher guide, it says it's in demand, can pay pretty well, decent job security, which is always good, but it's physically demanding, can be dangerous sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're working in some pretty remote spots. What jumps out at you from that?
Well, it sounds like you need someone who's up for a challenge. Physically capable, but also mentally adaptable.
Yeah.
Likes to solve problems, that kind of person.
For sure. Loves being outdoors too, I'd imagine. Let's get into some of these interview questions. First one, a classic. What experience do you have with repairing and maintaining forestry machinery? Now, maybe you haven't worked on a giant harvester before, but how can someone still frame their experience positively, even if they haven't?
You got to think broadly. Any experience fixing things, even if it seems totally unrelated,
Yeah.
rebuilt a car engine, tinkered with electronics, even just fixing stuff around the house. It's all about showing those core skills. Problem solving, mechanical aptitude, attention to detail.
Oh, yeah, like I once fixed a leaky faucet. It's a YouTube video and some spare parts. Wasn't forestry machinery, but it showed I could figure stuff out. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what they're looking for.
And then they might ask a follow-up. Walk me through how you did that. So be ready to explain your process.
Right, and that's where something like RoleCatcher's AI can be helpful. It tailors your answers to the specific job descriptions, so you're hitting what matters to them.
Super useful. Okay, next question. How do you troubleshoot and diagnose issues with forestry machinery? I'm betting they don't want someone just randomly swapping parts till it works.
Definitely not. Got to show you have a system. Think about a car problem. You wouldn't just tear it apart. You'd check the manual, listen for weird sounds, try to isolate the issue.
Yeah.
Same with forestry machinery, just often more complex.
And more specialized too, I bet. And don't forget all the software and data systems these days.
Oh, right. Huge part of it now.
Like technicians are using specialized programs to diagnose problems, even monitor performance. So even if your experience with that tech is from a different field, mention it. What kind of follow-up question do you think might come after describing your troubleshooting process?
They might ask about a particularly tough problem you faced and how you overcame it. So a real-world example of your resilience and skills. And again, RoleCatcher's AI, it can help craft that answer using the job description.
Wow, okay, that's powerful. Next one is big. What safety protocols do you follow when working with forestry machinery? Now remember, the career guide said this job can be dangerous, so they want to know you're serious about safety.
It's a must.
What are they listening for here?
Specific protocols, for sure. Wearing the right gear, inspecting equipment, being aware of your surroundings.
Right, like falling trees, uneven terrain, all those moving parts.
Exactly. They might even throw in a scenario. What would you do if you saw a colleague not following procedures?
Oh, that's a good one.
It tests your knowledge and your commitment to safety.
Definitely. Okay, moving on. Question about keeping up to date. How do you stay up to date on the latest forestry machinery technology and advancements?
This one's all about showing you're a lifelong learner, passionate, eager to stay ahead.
I like that.
The career guide mentions workshops, online courses, industry publications, even just talking to experienced techs to learn their tricks.
Right, picking their brains.
It's showing you're proactive.
And even if you don't have formal training in every new tech, expressing that willingness to learn is key. Maybe they'll ask, what's a new technology in forestry you're excited about and how would you learn it?
That's a good one. They're looking for how you approach learning itself. And RoleCatcher's AI, it can actually recommend resources based on the job's needs.
No way, that's amazing. Okay, let's do a rapid fire round with the next few questions, but still hit the key points. Question 5, diagnosing and repairing complex electrical systems. Which, I mean, everything's computerized now, so that's got to be super important. What's your take on this one?
Well, you'll want to show any relevant experience there, even if it's not from forestry machinery specifically, car electrical systems, home wiring projects, anything like that. The key is to highlight you understand electrical principles and can troubleshoot problems.
So drawing those parallels, showing those transferable skills.
Exactly.
Okay, question 6. Prioritizing and managing your workload when you're dealing with multiple pieces of machinery. What kind of follow-up could they throw at you for this one?
Probably a specific example. Like, tell me about a time you had to juggle multiple tasks or deadlines and how you handled the pressure. They want to know about your time management, your prioritization skills.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, on to number 7. This one is, how do you ensure that all forestry machinery is properly maintained and serviced in accordance with manufacturer guidelines? Seems pretty straightforward, but what's the real message they're trying to get at?
I think it's about showing your commitment to doing things by the book, following procedures, paying attention to detail, not cutting corners. They might even ask, what would you do if you noticed a piece of equipment wasn't being serviced properly?
That's a good test.
It is. It's about knowing those guidelines and speaking up for safety.
All right, question 8. Troubleshooting hydraulic systems. Pretty specialized. What if you don't have a ton of experience with hydraulics specifically?
Even then, highlight anything similar. Maybe you've worked on cars, other heavy equipment. Emphasize you understand the basic principles of hydraulics, that you can problem solve. They could even go scenario-based. Like, imagine a hydraulic system on a harvester is acting up. What are your first steps?
Oh, forcing you to walk through it, show you can think on your feet.
Exactly.
Last one in this rapid-fire round. This is about welding and fabrication experience. Sounds like a bonus skill. How important is it, really?
It's definitely valuable in this field. Even if it's not required for every job, it's useful for repairs and modifications. They might ask something like, have you ever fabricated a custom part? Walk me through it.
So you can get creative, show you can go beyond just following instructions.
Right.
Wow, we just flew through a bunch of potential interview questions. How can someone actually use RoleCatcher to help them prep for all of this?
So RoleCatcher's AI is like a personal coach. It analyzes those job descriptions, figures out what skills the employers really want. Then it helps you tailor your answers to highlight those strengths. It even gives feedback on your responses, like suggesting better phrasing or pointing out things you missed.
So it's like having a secret weapon.
Kind of, yeah.
And I love that RoleCatcher has those deeper resources too, like the careers interview directory and the skills interview directory.
Those are great for understanding specific career paths, what the interviews are like, common questions, even salary expectations.
Super helpful stuff. But, job searching can be tough. What advice would you give to someone feeling discouraged or overwhelmed?
Oh, absolutely. It's a process. It has ups and downs. But remember, you're not alone. Everyone faces those challenges. You just got to stay positive, keep your eye on the goal, celebrate those small wins.
I like that. It's easy to get bogged down.
Yeah.
So what are some practical things people can do to stay motivated and productive during the job search?
Structure helps. Create a routine, set aside specific times each day for job searching. Like, it's an important appointment,
Treat it like a job in itself.
Exactly.
What about networking? How important is that these days?
Super important. You never know where your next opportunity will come from. Building and maintaining relationships, it's crucial.
Any tips for the introverts out there?
Start small, people you already know, colleagues, classmates, professors. Go to industry events, even if they're online. Reach out to people on LinkedIn, those kinds of things.
Good advice. We talked a lot about the interview itself, but what about the big picture? Anything from the career guide that really stands out for someone considering this path?
One thing that struck me was how the forestry industry itself is changing. It's not just cutting down trees anymore. Sustainability, environmental stewardship, using tech to manage forests responsibly.
It's evolving.
Yeah, so if you're passionate about the environment, want a career combining technical skills with that commitment to sustainability, it can be a good fit.
That's a nice way to put it. Anything else jump out at you?
The growing demand for skilled technicians who can handle that increasingly complex machinery. So if you like working with your hands, solving problems, staying at the forefront of technology, this could be a really rewarding, challenging path.
Definitely. And with all the specialized software, data systems, even automation, the role's getting even more technical and sophisticated.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just wrenches and grease anymore. It's understanding computer systems, analyzing data, optimizing performance with technology.
So, gotta love tinkering, enjoy a good challenge, and be eager to learn new tech.
Exactly.
What about the work environment itself? What kind of personality thrives in this setting?
The guide paints a picture of someone independent, resourceful, comfortable working outdoors in all kinds of conditions.
Yeah, you're not always in a climate-controlled office.
Not at all. One day you're in a remote forest, next day a busy shop. You got to be adaptable, and I'd say love nature.
Makes sense. And the physical demands, too. It's a job that requires strength, stamina, You got to be willing to work hard.
No doubt, you're on your feet a lot, lifting heavy stuff, sometimes in tough conditions. Not for everyone, but if you enjoy that physical work, that satisfaction of seeing a job done well, it can be incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, that makes sense. We touched on salary a bit earlier, but can you give us a little more insight into the earning potential for forestry machinery technicians?
Sure, the guide says it varies by location, experience, specialization, all that, but generally it's well paying, especially if you've got advanced skills and certifications.
So good job security, Andy.
Yeah,
The potential to earn well, that's pretty attractive.
it is.
But beyond the money, what are some of the, I guess, less tangible benefits of this kind of work?
I think a lot of folks in this field find satisfaction knowing they're part of something vital. Helping manage forests responsibly, providing resources we need.
It's got that bigger purpose behind it.
Yeah, connecting you to nature, giving you that sense of purpose.
Plus, you get to work with really cool machinery.
Oh, absolutely. That's a bonus.
So it's technical skills, physical work, and the environmental stewardship.
It's a unique mix.
If you thrive in that kind of environment, it could be a great career. We've covered so much already, but I want to circle back to the interview process for a sec. We talked about specific questions, but what about the overall approach? What mindset should you go in with?
I'd say be genuine, be enthusiastic, and be prepared. Show them you're passionate, eager to learn, and ready to be part of the team.
More than just reciting facts and figures.
Exactly. It's connecting with them on a personal level, showing your commitment.
And remember, it's a two-way street. It's a chance for you to learn about them, the role, the team.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Show your curiosity.
Make sure it's a good fit for both sides.
Exactly.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on something that can be a bit scary for people. Behavioral interview questions.
Ah, yes.
Those tell me about a time when questions.
They can be tricky.
But they're also a chance to really show your skills and personality beyond just your resume.
I agree.
So how do you prep for those and make sure you're showing your best self?
Think about your past experiences, both work and your personal life, and find situations that show the skills they're looking for.
So if they ask about a time you faced a challenge, think about a problem you solved, working under pressure, collaborating with others.
Exactly. And when you tell the story, use the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. Keeps it clear and concise.
I like that. It's a good framework.
It is. And remember, it's not just what you did, but why you did it. Explain your thinking, the challenges, the lessons you learned.
Shows you're self-aware, reflective, that you're always trying to improve.
Right.
And don't be afraid to share stories that maybe didn't have a perfect ending. We learn from our mistakes.
We do. Those moments of honesty can really connect with the interviewer.
It's about being authentic.
Exactly.
So as you're wrapping up the interview, remember to reiterate your enthusiasm for the role. Thank them for their time. Ask about next steps.
All
And
important.
don't forget that thank you note afterwards.
Oh, yes, within 24 hours.
It's a small thing, but it makes a difference.
It shows you're professional and appreciate the opportunity.
All right, so we've covered a lot today. Specific interview questions, bigger career insights, even tips for staying motivated during the job search. But before we wrap up completely, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question. What are those less tangible but equally important qualities, those character traits that make someone really excel as a forestry machinery technician?
Ooh, that's a great one, and one we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive. Welcome back to our deep dive. We've been exploring what it takes to be a forestry machinery technician. We talked about interview prep, how AI can give you an edge, but there's a side to this career that goes beyond just skills and knowledge.
Yeah, it's about the kind of person who thrives out there in the field.
Right, you can be great with hydraulics, but if you can't handle a breakdown miles from nowhere, that's a whole different story.
Totally. So what are those invisible traits, the ones that make a really good tech?
Well, problem solving's huge. It's not just following a manual out in the woods. Unexpected stuff happens. You need that ability to diagnose on the fly, be creative with solutions.
Thinking outside the box.
Exactly. You got to be like a forestry machinery detective.
I love that.
Mm.
And sometimes you might not even have the right tools or parts. That's where resourcefulness comes in, right?
Absolutely. You got to improvise, MacGyver your way out of situations, use what you've got.
Wait a time.
Yeah, but safely, of course. It's ingenuity, and that's can-do attitude.
The guide also mentioned this job can be physically demanding
Yeah.
and mentally tough. What does that actually mean day to day?
It means long hours, often in crazy weather, heavy parts, awkward positions, and always being aware of the danger.
Right. Safety first.
Always. But it's the mental game, too. Staying
Right.
focused when you're exhausted, not getting frustrated easily, having that persistence to see your repair through to the end.
Makes sense. It's not just muscle, it's mindset. And speaking of mindset, safety consciousness is huge, right? One wrong move with this machinery could be really bad.
Absolutely. A good tech has that ingrained. They follow the rules, never cut corners, always thinking ahead about risks.
It's like they have a sixth sense for danger.
Yeah, kind of. It comes with experience and really understanding the equipment.
And it's not always solo work, is it? The guide mentioned working with foresters, loggers, other techs. How important are those people skills?
Really important. It's a team out there. You got to communicate clearly, listen well, explain things simply, and be willing to cooperate, especially when things get stressful.
When the pressure's on?
Yeah, think about it. If there's a breakdown holding everyone else up, you got to be the calm one, the problem solver, keeping things moving.
You're the linchpin.
In a way, yeah.
So it's technical skills, A&D, these soft skills, that's what makes someone stand out.
Exactly. It's the whole package.
And for anyone listening who's thinking, this sounds like me,
Yeah.
go check out RoleCatcher. Their resources are awesome.
They are a great place to start to see if this path really aligns with you.
We've just scratched the surface of what it takes to be a forestry machinery technician. But hopefully this deep dive's given you a good foundation.
And sparked that curiosity to learn more.
Exactly. That's what we're hoping for.
All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the world of forestry machinery technicians. We've been talking about the skills, the interview prep, even how AI can help. But there's more to it than that, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a certain kind of person who really thrives in this career.
Exactly. It's not just about what you know, it's about WHOUR.
So what are those, I don't know, almost like invisible traits, the ones that make a really good forestry machinery technician?
Well, problem solving is a big one, for sure. And I don't just mean following a manual out in the field. Things go wrong, stuff breaks down in unexpected ways. You need that ability to diagnose on the fly, think creatively, come up with solutions nobody's thought of before, you know?
Like you're a forestry machinery detective.
Aha, yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you might not even have the right tools or parts.
That's where resourcefulness comes in big time. You got to be able to improvise, MacGyver your way out of situations.
Use what you've got.
Exactly, and do it safely, of course. It's that mix of ingenuity and a can-do attitude. You don't give up easily.
Makes sense. The guide also mentioned this job can be physically demanding. And he's mentally tough. What does that actually look like in practice?
Long hours, for one thing, often in unpredictable weather, dealing with heavy parts, awkward positions, and always being aware of the potential hazards around you.
Safety is paramount.
Absolutely. But it's the mental side, too. Staying focused even when you're exhausted, not letting frustration get to you, having that persistence to see a repair through no matter what.
So it's not just muscle, it's mental toughness, too.
It is. They go hand in hand in this kind of work.
And speaking of mental toughness, safety consciousness has got to be up there, right? One wrong move with this machinery could be disastrous.
Oh, absolutely no room for error. For a good tech, it's just second nature. They follow the protocols, never cut corners, always thinking a few steps ahead.
It's like they can anticipate the risks.
In a way, yeah, it comes from experience and really understanding how the equipment works, how it could fail.
It's not just knowing how to fix it, it's knowing how to prevent it from breaking in the first place.
Exactly.
And it's not always a solo job either, is it? The guide mentioned working with foresters, loggers, other technicians. How important are those people skills, that ability to work as a team?
It's essential. You're not out there alone. You need clear communication, got to be able to listen to others, explain technical things in a way that everyone understands, and be willing to cooperate, especially when things are stressful, deadlines are looming.
Because when there's a breakdown, everyone's affected.
Right. If a machine's down, the whole operation can grind to a halt. So you're the one they're relying on to get things moving again. You got to be calm, focused, and a good communicator. Keep everyone informed.
You're like the glue that holds it all together.
Aha, something like that.
So it's really a combination of things, isn't it? It's the technical know-how, but it's also these soft skills, the personality traits.
I'd say so. It's the whole package that makes a great forestry machinery technician.
Well said. And for anyone listening who's intrigued by this career, drawn to that mix of challenge, skill, and working with nature, definitely check out RoleCatcher. Their resources are fantastic for exploring this path further.
Absolutely. And for those who are already on this path, keep learning, keep growing, stay safe out there.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.